two favorite Geminis here. We're just here with a quick disclaimer about the upcoming episode that some people might find some portions of it emotionally triggering.
And we would also like to note that this video is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only, and it should not be taken as professional advice.
Yes, these are our own personal opinions and experiences.
Thanks for listening.
Love you.
Love you. Mwah.
Welcome back to Two Geminis with Mics, the podcast where we explore anything from feminism to woo-woo topics to mental health and anything in between that might be something that's heavy on our brains. My name is Keshia, and this is Brooklyn.
Hello.
And today we're going to be venturing into mental health because it's March and it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and that is a big deal to us. We live and have lived with mental health problems for a very long time, and it's something that most definitely needs more airtime, no matter where it is. What about you, Brooke?
Well, and I feel like in this economy,
that's going to be your next, literally.
Yeah.
In this economy.
In this economy. Today's the eclipse. We are March 3rd, 10:21 Pacific Standard Time, 11:21 Mountain Standard Time. And shit's weird. That's
it's weird and we're tired.
Yes, I did get a very good sleep last night, but
that was mediocre.
We're coming out of winter, and does that ever feel valid? Like it feels like it's very fitting for an eclipse day in the middle of a Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, it feels like somebody took an egg scrambler to my brain. She'd be feeling foggy. What are you doing? Are you okay?
I have a dog hair in my cup.
That must have traveled from far away. I was like,
it's probably from my blanket.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'm recording from my studio today. And AKA, yes, AKA my studio is my garage.
Yeah, I have some moving around. I want to create my own little studio in this corner, but it keeps getting hijacked by people, so I don't want to make it too nice.
Same. The people I live with have also vehicles, and it's very irritating. No, just kidding.
Fred is also hijacked. Fred, my dog, and for those of you who aren't around a lot, has also hijacked my chair. Oh, look, also a dog hair that is not Fred's.
Perfect.
Okay. Nice.
I've been doing head spas lately, and long black stringy hair, like curly hair, has been haunting me, and I'm like, I love that Keshia is with me even though she's not with me.
That ain't my genetics. That ain't my genetic material on you. Oh, that's creepy.
I think it's so funny. I'm just like, that's hilarious. And every time I see it, I immediately think of you, because I'm just like, who else do I know with curly hair?
Yeah. And the scariest part now is like I've found a few of the gray ones falling out. And then I'll like pull it out and I'm like, oh no, that is mine.
Because of the length.
Yeah. And just, yeah, it's gray. I found a gray eyebrow hair recently, and I think that was the most traumatic moment. Are you okay? Do you need a moment?
My eyeballs are just running. My allergies.
You better go catch them. Ah, just kidding. Oh my God, I even cringed inside at that one. I'm so sorry.
We're here for the dad jokes because
we're just trying to stay alive
in this economy.
See?
It just works with everything. It's my new favorite site. It's because the economy in Canada is absolutely whacked and has been whacked for a couple of years, but this year, like this past year, like 2025, I have never seen gas. Just a quick little blimp about gas prices. I've never seen gas prices jump 40 cents in a night. And like,
wild.
It's happening weekly. Like, it's not just like once in a while. It's like weekly. And I'm like,
I remember when I was
So
a kid, before I had my license, and like my brothers are quite a bit older, so they had theirs, and my parents would give them like $20 for gas. $20. I was like, and now it's like it costs me a nice dollar to fill up my tiny car.
Well, what's wild to me is when the gas is like 109, it's like $35 to fill up my car. When it's this expensive, it's like $70. And I'm like, I'm driving the same car. I'm putting in the same
And you know
gas.
what? Ours is probably cheaper than some other places. Like I know
It is.
Newfoundland's a nightmare.
Well, your Alberta has always been like relatively cheap for gas. I remember when I lived there and one Christmas gas was 40 or no, 59 cents, and in BC it was like almost a dollar, and my brother was so excited. He literally brought jerry cans and it literally made it back to BC, but he got like Alberta gas all the way to
It was
BC,
scary
and he was
to
like,
drive with that. I'd be so
people do
scared
it
I'd get
all
in
the
an
time.
accident. Yeah, it's just like for me, I don't remember a time when it was under a dollar anymore, but that's me. I always
No.
just like have been lucky enough to be like, let's go fill up and it's okay.
And not to
But
think about it.
yeah, and like I also have like a car with like really good gas mileage. I think you do too now.
Yeah, I do. And that's why it's just like, and for me, I'm not in, like, I'm not wealthy enough to just like not think about it and just do it all the time, where I'm
Privilege.
still counting my dollars and my cents. And like, for
Yep.
me, I think it's just because of the way I was brought up. I think about like, budgeting. Budgeting is always really helped me, especially during times like this. Like, these types of times have happened a few times in our lifetime. Like, prices will go up and then you really have
And
to
they ain't
count your
coming back down.
dollar. Not for a while. And you really have to stretch your dollar. Like, you have to think about where you're spending your money, what you're spending your money on. And I feel like that's a really good segue into our topic.
I do want to add, for me, I didn't really learn how to truly budget and the meaning of a dollar until I started doing some cash stuffing. And that's what really taught me like what I'm spending my money on and what's going
Yes.
on. And that's only in the recent years.
Yes.
Like I had a budget, but I didn't have a tight budget. I had like
Same.
didn't have a concept. I don't know how to explain it beyond that. I was just really lucky not to have gone into a lot of debt because of that. Which was just like pure luck, I think. But now I don't do cash stuffing anymore because there's just not any income right now. So like it's just strange. Your mindset is so different, and I'm so grateful that that happened before where I am now.
Yes. I found that budgeting, and I didn't quite do cash stuffing, but I did do the budgeting, is I found that it made you accountable for all of your dollars.
You
Like with my,
assign a thing to every dollar, so then
yes.
you know you're not going to take a chunk of your paycheck and spend it on something that means you're not going to pay your rent in a month or whatever.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that was what it was. It was like every dollar had a job.
Mhm.
Therefore, you are not going to, well, hopefully, best case scenario, not end up without money for the important shit for survival.
Yes.
But that being said, not everybody gets the luxury of that.
No.
I've watched, there's so many cash stuffers on YouTube from so many different walks of life. So like it really puts it into perspective when you watch any of them, especially the ones that are on like a tight budget. And yeah, anyway, that was actually helpful for my mental health. Speaking of segues,
No, well, it is.
It
And
gave me
that's like
space.
one of the things I've noticed for me is when my mental health is not doing good, my spending habits are crazy.
Me too. I'm an emotional spender.
Yes. And I find that for me, the quickest way to calm my anxiety is focusing on my finances.
You
Budgeting.
like numbers, though. You've always
I
liked
do.
numbers.
I do.
I think you might have missed your calling with numbers.
Probably. But who knows? We're still young. We still got time.
I don't know. The gray hair in my eyebrow is telling me something else. So, but
I don't know. I'm talking to like 70 and 80-year-olds and they give me so much life. I'm like, oh my God, I am still young.
Right? Oh my God, I had a conversation like that with somebody recently too. They're like, yeah, I'm just aging, so I'm gonna use this face stuff. And I was like, we're all aging. We're all just getting older. Like it.
That's life.
Yeah, that's the only thing guaranteed in life.
Yep, is to age. Yep. Yeah, I know. It's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, so mental health.
That's the topic today.
That is the heavy topic for today. Oh, heavy for me, I guess. Well, it's always heavy. Where do we want to start? Like, do we want to just start with our stories? Like, I don't know if we've ever fully told them. I'm not going to be going into detail because I'm not looking to spiral into a PTSD. I don't know what the word is there. Crater
moment. Yep.
Crater moment. But yeah, for me it was, I have PTSD, and that was only recently diagnosed, and I lived my entire life with it pretty much from a very young age due to sexual trauma. And it was something that I never understood my brain and why it did the things it did. I felt like I was going crazy a lot of the time. Wasn't until I learned that that was not my fault, which still to this day, sometimes I don't fully understand. I think that's something that every survivor gets. Like, it's not, but there's almost like a re-realization every once in a while for me. But nonetheless, it wasn't till I was in my 30s that when after pandemic and layers of trauma being added to it, whether that's relational, etc., I started having panic attacks, full-blown panic attacks. Always had anxiety, though it was never diagnosed. Had gone to therapy prior. It wasn't until I found the therapist I have now and got on anxiety medication that I started understanding why my brain is the way it is. Parts theory was a huge stepping stone for me, and it was what my therapist happens to use, and EMDR. And that is why I'm probably here sitting and talking about it on a podcast today. This is the EMDR and also parts theory. There are books on parts theory, but I do not recommend reading them without a therapist, as Brooklyn will back me up on.
She's seen me. I've re-traumatized myself by reading those books and spun myself into a doozy.
Yeah, I was like, are you reading those books again?
3 times. 3 times I've done it.
Yeah,
but I'm
like,
almost done the book.
Oh my God. But that's the
I'm
short
alive.
story for me. And I did probably 10 rounds of EMDR, which is quite a bit over the course of 2 to 3 years. Yeah, 2 to 3 years. I think I started in 2023 officially. And then there had been a few before that, but with EMDR, you have to find a way in so your brain doesn't get re-traumatized. And it has something to do with calming the movement of the eye. So it's EMDR. Eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And the way that it works is it helps to reduce the activity of the amygdala, I think it is, so that the memories can actually come to the surface and you can reprocess them.
In a healthy way.
In a healthy, safe environment. And then they will hopefully not be as triggering. It can take a few days to recover from one. It used to take me weeks. And there were times where I would come out of those and be shaking from the trauma. So it's very intense. You need to have proper supports in place and people who can support you through it. And I was lucky to have many of those things. And yeah, I think that's kind of my story in a snippet. But yeah, I'm still on anxiety meds. And if anybody, especially in the spiritual community, tells you that medication is not the answer don't listen to them. It's your journey. And listen to yourself, your doctor, and your therapist. Yeah. Don't, I think that you can't manifest and feel healthy when your brain is stuck in fight and flight, in my opinion. My experience. But anyway, that's my story.
Definitely. And I just want to say something quick about manifesting, because I have manifest the worst case scenario multiple times. So
Me too.
for me, it's learning to be careful with your words, because for me, words are magic, words are medicine, and you can either use them for good or bad. And for me, affirmations were a huge thing. Gratitude was another huge thing. I have multiple scenarios that have traumatized me. I've been through it since I was a baby. I started off 6 weeks old, going through a car accident with my mom, and then having repeat nightmares of that pretty much my whole life. And then it was just like trauma after trauma after trauma growing up. So for me, I was on medication, antidepressants when I was 14, but I also, I thought that there was a significant event on my 14th birthday that started the trauma and started the negative thoughts. But then I found a diary from when I was like from when I was 9, 10, and 11. And there was some very deep, deep, dark things that I said about myself in there. And that made me realize that this hasn't been since that one event, that it's been going on pretty much my whole life. And I have worked very hard at deprogramming the programs that I set up for myself. For me, because I had such a trauma from such a young age, I was always told that it wasn't my fault. And I always played the excuse game. And rereading some of my report cards from when I was a kid, that has always been my escape, is that I always have an excuse for something. And I've always used excuses to get me out of situations, to get me out of deadlines, to get me out of like, my life is so traumatic that I can't do anything. And then it was just like these past couple months realizing that I thought I've healed all of this stuff, but I've just learned to cope with it better. So me and
Get
Keshia
under the rug.
Yes. And me and Keshia, we've been discussing this episode for a while. So I like started like just digging up all of my skeletons and going, oh, I haven't solved anything. I'm just pretending.
Hey, sometimes pretending helps. Not all the time.
Well, and now we're here. So now this is my accountability year. I'm so excited. So
It goes into a 12th house year.
yay. I'm so excited. So perfect. I've pulled up my counselor notes and I started redoing my homework, and my homework was boundaries.
How many times have we talked about boundaries on this fucking podcast? I hate boundaries. But
it's like, because we're not good at them.
Yeah, I know. And it's guilt. It's also guilt because we think we're like hurting that person's feelings, but really we're hurting ourselves. And it's exhausting.
It's so much easier to hurt yourself than it is to hurt another person.
But like, why doesn't the rest of the world think that way?
Because we're traumatized.
I think everybody's traumatized, truly. Anybody who comes up to me is like, oh, I don't have trauma. I'm like, Have you been
Let's dig into that a little bit deeper. Why don't you think you have trauma? Let me find it for you.
Or they'll say that to me and then proceed to tell me a story that's super traumatic, and I'm like,
there it is.
like, oh, okay. I'm sorry
glad
to
that
burst your bubble here. that does not sound good. But yeah, and then we also had, I don't know if I should say this here, but we can edit it out if you don't want to talk about it. But we also had somebody say that like therapies for rich people.
Yes.
And then Brooklyn realized she's been to therapy multiple times and she was not rich in those moments in her life.
No, I was like really, really poor. So these are like something that I really, really want to talk about. Like this is a whole segment because there's been
we should take that and that should just be our intro for every segment.
Welcome to the aggression podcast of two Geminis with mics, where today we are going with aggression
segment.
But so there was a time where I thought I had cancer and I put all of my funds into getting healthy. So you get to choose. This is going back to you choosing your hard. Either you can get better, go to therapy, do the homework. And this is coming from someone that has gone to counseling, gone to therapy, and has not done the work. And that has to go back to it again. So that's just me realizing that you have to fucking do the work.
You do. My therapist, normally I'm very good at doing the work with my therapist, normally. But she recently gave me homework that I've been avoiding for like 4 to 6 months. maybe 7. Oh my God, is that what this eclipse series was about? God damn. Anyway, I was literally telling Brooklyn, I was like, I don't know what this eclipse series was about for me, my 4th house. So never mind. This is the last one in it, and it should be queuing up. But anywho, and it's basically the fact that once you've done so much EMDR or healing or whatever, there becomes a point where your brain becomes disconnected from your body, but your body remembers the trauma and your brain is calmed down. And I'm at that point. Excuse me. So you have to like sit in it and allow yourself to sit in the discomfort and the feelings. And she's like, seconds at a time to maybe a minute, and then you pull back out. And you do that in order to adjust to it so that you can slowly release it and then we can move on. And I have not intentionally, but clearly been avoiding it. Because like normally I would just, let's get this over with. But I think for me, it's like, I just did like 2 years of EMDR. Almost
have to go back to that.
And now I have to go back into my body and I have to feel that experience again. I thought I was fucking done. I don't want to do that.
That doesn't sound fun.
It doesn't sound like anything I want to do. I want to go back to the start. Anyway, but man, is it uncomfortable and it's an experience you can't even explain to people unless they've been through it, where your brain is like completely calm and then all of a sudden your body's like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you think it'd be easy to convince your body, but it's just not.
It's not. I've just been drowning in it. Like, it'll just be moments where it's just like all of a sudden, and I've been like feeling engulfed by emotions, and then there's nothing I can do. And then I just sit back and just let it take until I start crying because I'm like, I know it's coming.
And sometimes that release is so important because I've also had this conversation with a close friend of mine that I've known for a very long time. And I always remember what she says, that crying helps regulate your nervous system. And like, so when I need to cry, I usually would just let myself do it. But there was something else I was going to say to what you said about, yeah. And also I think this might actually be from a song, but emotions are temporary. Like you just let them pass. Even the most horrifying, terrifying ones of them, once you can acknowledge them. But it's getting to the point where you can actually acknowledge what's happening before you can do that.
So that's a perfect segue because I've been recently talking to that about my uncle about addiction because I've been talking to people. So I used to smoke cigarettes, and I used to smoke a lot. I used to smoke like a pack to 2 packs a day, and minimum a pack a day. And
you were never that bad around me. I wonder, were you just like, she's like, don't let her know how bad it is.
No. So for me, like my smoking pattern is as soon as I would get up in the morning, I would have a cigarette, and then I would have a coffee, go inside, get ready. And then before I would get ready, I would go outside and have another smoke. And then before I would go to work, I would have another smoke. And then before I went into work, I would have another. Like literally, I was a chain smoker, like so bad. So I've been like
so used to it. I never realized how much you smoked. Holy shit.
And that was the thing was, I was telling my partner, like, he's like, you didn't smoke that much. And I'm like, oh no, I did. I would like have to count how many cigarettes I had, and like had to like strategically count my day out because I would go around my cigarettes. But it was just like, for me quitting, it's that few seconds. Like all you need is that couple seconds of distraction, and the need is gone. Like for me right now, I'm doing it with alcohol instead of, because it's just like, I want a glass of wine, or I really want a gin and tonic, or like, and it's not like I want to get drunk, but I just like want a drink. And so now it's just changing the pattern of that. And what I have found really helpful is exercise. So that has been my recent exercise. No, that's been my recent escape. But if I can't do exercise, I do breathing.
Yes, breathing's actually really good.
Breathing and learning, especially with people with PTSD and CPSD.
CPTSD. Yeah, close enough. Whatever.
You know what I mean.
Got it.
Breathing and box breathing help out a lot. Box breathing was like, it was just an easy thing to learn for me, and it was an easy thing to keep in my mind.
My therapist, she asked me, she was like, this is going to sound weird, Keshia, but do you know how to breathe? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I didn't know how to breathe. She's like, it should be going all the way down into your rib cage. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, people with a lot of anxiety and like I don't know if it was high cortisol levels or anxiety. I don't remember what thing I have that she was referring to, but one of it. She's like, a lot of people don't realize that it's got to go all the way down to your, like that full expansion. And a lot of people aren't doing it. So it actually feels completely different. And I was like,
people with anxiety do short breath.
Yeah.
And doing that literally causes anxiety because you're restraining your lungs from oxygen.
And
so you're literally
you're not using too,
and you're literally putting your body in a panic, not breathing properly.
I was like, oh my God. And like, this is years of therapy. Like this was recent.
Yep. And I learned breathing when I started doing Reiki. And he was the one that and it was yoga yoga and Reiki. Wow, I was trying to say both of those words at once.
maybe we make something new.
Well, it helps. Like breathing and yoga, like breath work and yoga are intertwined. Like you have to learn how to breathe to perform yoga properly. Like if you want to do those long holding stances, if you don't know how to breathe, you are not going to hold it for very long. And that was always
difficult for me when I was in yoga and stuff. Remember when you wouldn't go to yoga with me and Emily back in like, you're like, no. Well, we tried so hard to get her to go to yoga.
Do you know why? Fight and flight. I was constantly in fight and flight, and I couldn't calm my nervous system down enough. And when I tried... Well, when I would try, I would go into panic attacks. That's why, is because I didn't have the proper tools. And I just I recently was reliving because I remember the yoga teacher thinking I was so dramatic because, and I was.
Well, we are, but
like looking at it now, I'm like, how did someone not
was she
clock?
a bitch?
But how did I not clock that I was in fight and flight and
Because
I
it wasn't something that was ever talked about back then.
Oh no. And
like,
now
I
it's
think
like so
sorry, go ahead. I think a lot of it's TikTok and like
it is.
certain mental
Social
health
media
conversations that have come up because of social media. And like social media does a lot of bad shit. Don't get me wrong. There is some horrible shit out there and it is pushing some bad narratives, especially right now. But man, has it given me an opportunity to understand different things. Things that I would never have gotten an understanding of, like even transgender experiences or like other, like that's probably part of the reason I'm a feminist or realized what true feminism is.
Yeah.
And it was TikTok.
Oh
and
my
like,
God.
You're like, oh
And
yeah.
like realizing that you're a pick, like I realized I was a pick me girl my whole life.
Same.
And I'm like,
100% same. Yeah.
Save me. And like it was just like realizing all of these things. And also with TikTok, another thing it taught me about was breathing. Is because when from a young age I was taught to breathe up, but your nostrils don't go up, they go back and down. And when I learned how to breathe like that, oh my God, that literally changed. Because when when I was taught breathing in elementary school, I was taught to breathe up. And then in one of my breathing YouTube exercise things, it was going, your nostrils end here and then go back and then down. So if you go and focus on your breath in your stomach, oh my God.
Yeah. It took
life
me,
changing.
I mean, I did a lot of yoga even between, not a lot. I shouldn't say a lot, but there were different times in my life where I did like different yoga classes. I never got the breathing. There were certain times where I would like get a good breath in and then understand the breathing. Short-lived.
Yeah.
Absolutely short-lived.
And anytime I'm about to go into a panic, focusing on my breath, biggest game changer. Biggest game changer.
Which is so funny because I just looked down here and saw breathing as one of the things for how we deal with our.
Nice. That's on mine too. Breathing. And then oh, this is a good one. You don't heal alone, and you don't heal in one way. Your healing isn't isn't just a program, a session, a modality. It is a support system, a nervous system regulation, self-responsibility, community, and daily practices.
Yeah. I have a lot of work to do with my daily practices, and I will
forever
admit it.
Forever though.
Yeah.
And then things that made me realize that I needed help. The nonstop panic attacks, hard time functioning when things would come up, especially around forest fires. I have a huge fear around fires. So anytime there's a forest fire, that's like a huge trigger for me. And that's when I like go immediately into a panic.
Me too, actually.
And yeah, like a lot of Canadians, because of the recent years, like fires are just such a huge anxiety and it just like causes panic instantly. So
I'm hoping our winter was intense enough, because it was a very intense one, that ours will be calm this year.
You guys were already preparing for like worst case Ontario over here.
Yeah, fire season started 2 days ago, March 1st.
I know. We're dry. And then also fear has always played a huge part into my mental health. So not going into the fear-mongering fucking shit and trying to stay love and light and trying to stay on the positive side of things and trying to consume more joyful and it's not like ignoring or pretending that the whole world isn't burning down, but like just what can I do right now to regulate me, to make myself feel a spark of joy while the whole world is burning and crashing.
Yeah, because the joy still has to exist, even though some of our worst nightmares are happening right now, and like we're not even directly in the middle of them. But like, it's horrendous out there. Like, and Neptune is up in its business right now. So we're just going to see a lot of stuff getting, yes, Fred, I know. He wants his food. It's 12 p.m. So he just like pushed me for the first time. No, go lie down. Um, so it's very, you have to still be able to experience joy and then find other ways to help.
Yes.
I'm still figuring out exactly what that means. Because joy can be very hard to come by.
Well, boredom, like this whole year I've been like working on creativity, and there was a whole trend about creativity and how boredom can spark creativity. And when you're in that joy, that's where you find joy, is when you're being in your creative outlet. And for me, I like being creative, but I like being alone. And being alone isn't always good for your mental health. I find there's times, like for me, I try to socialize myself. I try to socialize as much as I can, even though people piss me off, I get annoyed, tensions are high, we're in the middle of a weird eclipse with a Mercury retrograde. So stuff's weird, but also finding your community, finding your people, and staying in touch with people, even though times are difficult, we still have to have community.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that I think that all you can do is try to also perpetuate a narrative that isn't as harmful as the ones that are currently going around, and also like make sure that certain things don't fall to the wayside, like the Epstein files and those victims, which is also really traumatic for anybody who's experienced. It might not be your story, but it still reminds you, if you've been sexually assaulted or you have any history of that, like it's going to bring that up. It might not be a direct hit, and what they experienced might be worse. I'm putting it in quotations because we can't understand somebody else's experience, but it doesn't mean that your experience wasn't awful as well.
Yes.
I guess is what I'm trying to get at. But it's just, yeah, it's a lot.
It is. And I find that with the Epstein files, it's just re-traumatizing a whole bunch of people, me frickin' included.
I had to stop watching some of it because I was like, it's just too much.
Well, and
but trying to stay informed about it too, without like, yeah, it's a lot.
Well, for me, I've just changed my trajectory on it because it was hurting my mental health. And so instead of, I already know, like the stuff that has happened to me, I already know that this world's messed up. I already know some deep, dark pockets in the world that exist. I've been in them. So for me, it was just like, I've been here before. How did I make it out the last time? And unfortunately, last time I just ran away from it all. But this time it's just like, this time it's just like, I've realized that you have to face the dragon. You have to face it, and you have to do it to the best of your ability. You may not come out unscathed, but at least you try. And for me, this time, I am willing to go to battle and willing to put myself out there. And I'm not going to let fear and other people's opinions stop me this time, because I've realized that love and light isn't going to fix everything, but it is going to heal.
It can help.
And that's where we need it, is the healing.
And it brings like understanding to the trauma survivors and stuff. But like, love and light is wonderful and great, but it isn't going to change what's happening in the world. And I think in order to be any type of healer, you have to also be understanding of what's happening in the world. And you can't bury your head in the sand either. You know what I mean? Like, everybody goes on about all these things, and it's just like, you have to be fully aware of the darkness as well. And like, I'm sure RuPaul has his faults, but one of my favorite quotes that he says is like, you have to be aware of the darkness, but you can't always look directly at it. And you have to make sure that you're, like, he doesn't say this part, but you have to make sure you're informed about it too. And it's just, as hard as it is, do that when you can, and then do something else to combat it. For me, healthy escapism is an important one in moderation. So like, maybe I'm in a really bad headspace, so I'm playing a video game that day. Or maybe I'm in a really bad headspace, so I'm reading a shit ton, like of a fantasy novel or whatever. That has been my new thing. But to me, I'm still learning. I'm learning different words. I'm learning different writers' writing processes and understanding them. And it's also like a small research project for me, because I would love to be writing, right? And I think I want to create a world where I can escape to, that I get to write the narrative. So for me, that's also a learning process, but it's taking me out of the immediate pain that I'm experiencing. So like, I think everybody can have a version of that. You just got to find what it is for you. One that works for me too is asking why I'm anxious. Because if it's just coming out of nowhere, like if it feels like all of a sudden my body's like losing its shit, I'm like, why are you anxious? Do you actually have a reason to be anxious right now? Or are you just feeling unsafe for some XYZ reason that isn't actually a problem right now? Parts work is a huge deal for me. IFS, internal family systems, being aware of what part is active is a huge deal. We'll put the books in the caption if you guys are interested. But again, there is a warning that you should have a therapist if you're going through them, because they can be very triggering, because you're like, oh, that's why I'm like that. And it'll be something you're not really aware of. But that's a big deal too.
With books, I read Becoming Supernatural by Dispenza. Wow, that was a Mercury retrograde.
That was a really messy one.
Yeah, Joe Dispenza. Reading that book, I gave myself shingles. So
Power of the mind is a big fucking deal, though. Like, we do create our realities.
It is. And now anytime a shingles commercial comes off, I literally have to like block it out and go la 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 la. Like, it's just anytime I'm like,
don't even look at me.
It's made me realize. But also another book that I have not read, but I have bought, but it is my duty this year to read it, is The Body Keeps the Score by...
Have that one, and it triggered me so bad I had to stop reading it.
I've been told 6 times over the past, since COVID, to read that book, and I haven't. And it keeps coming up. It keeps coming up. And I'm like, this is the year.
And it's not that it's not bad. Like, I felt seen through my PTSD for it. But my God, I got like a few chapters in, and my therapist was like, maybe you're too triggered to be reading this right now.
Maybe that's not it. What is...
It is a good one for trauma and stuff.
Gade, nope. What is that guy's name?
You want me to find it? You can Google it.
No, it wasn't the right book.
Oh, I can't. But just in case people are listening and they want to know.
Yes, because that is a good book, and that is another one.
Van der Kolk.
Yeah, that's the one. But that wasn't the book that.
Yeah, just in case people want to know who writes that one. Who wrote that one?
And the counseling thing that I was going to tell everybody about is they changed the whole system in BC, and now it's a new system. But I have the information for the new system, because I was just like, oh my God. Oh, When the Body Says No by Gabomate.
me see. When the body says no.
Yeah.
And I gotta get off Google. I'm using Ecosia, but my main page is still Google by accident. When the body says no. Oh, that's by Gabor Mate?
Yes, him. That's the book.
Have you watched his documentary yet?
No.
You need to.
I know.
Okay.
He's like,
even before you read that.
He's been on my like pedestal, on my altar as someone that I need to not idolize, but like look up to.
Yeah.
That's basically the same thing. Anyway.
Well, at
he's
least
apparently
understand and read his work kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes. But apparently he's a really, really good one. So that's one of the books that I have to read this year.
Might have to add that to my list because I didn't realize he had a book.
Yeah, he has a couple books.
I like Gabor Mate. I've watched his documentary and I can't remember the frickin' name of it, but it's all about trauma. And he goes into like a prison system and like talks about trauma and what led them there. And like, yeah, he's a huge leading like trauma person.
He's so good.
And he thinks that trauma, can go right back to infancy.
Yeah. Yeah, he is so good. Such a brilliant man. But yeah, what was the other thing I was going to mention?
Oh, if you guys need help or like therapists and stuff, make sure you're Googling. Nope. Ecosia.
Make sure you're
searching. I gotta stop saying Google because it's just a friggin' millennial habit.
Yeah.
But make sure you're looking it up. There's lots of options. I know for a fact in Alberta there's an EFAP program. There are different counseling options that you don't have to be rich to access counseling. But if the counselor seems like they're not right for you, please do not be scared to leave. Red flags. Look for red flags.
BC, I'm not sure if this is Canadian, but I know in BC you can dial 811 and talk to someone and they can get you to the right person. That was when I was going through the wildfires in 2021 in BC. That is the number I called because I wanted to be put in the mental institution, and my doctor was like, you need counseling. That's not for people like you. So I called 811 and they got me on it's called Inside Out, but that's not the program anymore. It's called BounceBack in BC, and they give you 6 to 8 sessions, practical tools, structured support, and they help you function again. So if you're going through a break, they can help you regulate, get back to your cozy, normal self.
And if, say, finances are not an issue, there are plenty of therapists, psychologists, counselors that you can pick from, and do not be scared to change until you find one that fits what you need, because I think I got lucky when I found my therapist, and while I might be the one doing the work, her guidance was pivotal in my life. So a good therapist makes all the difference.
And having a good therapist, like she said, I've had some really, really bad ones that re-traumatized me and just kept me in trauma. And then I've had really, really good ones. So it really makes a huge difference when you find the modality and the counselor or therapist or psychiatrist that fits your groove. Not everyone is meant for you, but there are people out there that are willing to help guide you through these difficult times. One of the things that I wanted to bounce back to was me quitting smoking. I did not quit on my own. I used heartbeat trauma release therapy, and it helped me quit smoking, and it helped me. I was going through a traumatic time because one of my cousins got murdered, and it was just a really horrific event, and it really scarred my family, and I was holding on to a whole bunch of rage, and the heartbeat trauma release therapy really helped me get through it. So I'm going to put the link in there for that because it's for people with like PTSD, really bad trauma. And when you can't get out of fight and flight, you don't even have to tell her what brought you there. She just helps you, gives you tools to release it. And it's like instant. Now, depending on how big the trauma is, there's some that's like 5 to 10 days. Some of it's just like a couple sessions. So,
and not everything's going to work for everybody. So like take everything we're saying with a grain of salt, as you guys know. But also I want to jump back. Speaking of jumping back, I want to jump back to one thing that I said about medication and spiritualism. Remember that like these things are meant to help be a gateway to help you. Doesn't mean that you have to be on them forever. And maybe for some people, there are certain conditions, I'm sure. Yeah, probably. But one of the best pieces of advice that I got from a close friend was that when I was going on anxiety medication and she had been on it previously, she was like, the best advice I can give you is to not only go on the anxiety medication, but to make sure you get a good therapist and that you're exercising. I did 2 of those 3. So I'll be unstoppable when I get the 3rd one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it helps get the extra energy that's trapped in your body, the exercise and stuff. And it's true. I've felt it when I do stay active, but man, I hate being active.
I know, but movement helps.
Is important. It is.
It is. And also just being outside, like once a week, go outside, breathe some fresh air in for a couple minutes and then go back inside.
The only thing that keeps me going outside is Fred. So
please get some sunshine.
Who I have to go feed like right now.
As we're closing up, a few key things that I just wanted to mention: community and best friends. Community and having people that are your soundboard, people that you can vent to, people that you can go to and be like, people that you can text and be like, I'm not okay. And then just be there to listen and vent. Having a circle, having a best friend, and then just having someone just to witness you and just be there also helps.
And I almost want to double back on that with some people aren't capable of that. So, and that's not to deactivate what she's saying, but for me, it took me years before I was able to reach out to my friends and be like, I might not be okay. And it took a long time and it wasn't until the healing process. So make sure that if you're like somebody who just doesn't make friendships easily or doesn't have a best friend, it might be something that you have to work on to get there, to be able to lean on other people, because it's just one of those things.
Yeah. And friendships are work.
Yep.
Relationships are work. You can either put this work into a man or you can put it into a best friend. That's all I'm going to say.
Maybe you should put it into a best friend. I would tell my 20-year-old self to stop dating. So
don't focus on them. Focus on your
the money.
And then know your tools. Know what works for you.
Try different things.
Yes. Don't just stick with one thing. Try different things. Be adventurous with your healing journey. This is a lifelong thing. It's not just like a little blimp in the frickin' lunar eclipse. Like this, we're gonna have stuff happen through our lives, and the more that we are better prepared for it, the more easier
and the
we
more
are
you
able
heal,
to handle
the more
it.
you realize everybody's traumatized and they're probably projecting onto you.
Yes, we're all fucked up anyway.
Everybody's screwed. It is what it is.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We enjoyed this episode and we hope you did too. And we hope to see you next time. Love you. Bye. See you later, gems. Bye.